We all attribute value to people. Everyone has a way of giving value or evaluating people. But the measures that we use vary. And the standards by which we measure a person's worth or rank or status or nobility depend on what our own values are. Some people use ethnicity, they use family background, they use various things to determine the status of a person or the honor and distinction of a person. So Umar radiallahu anhu gives us some guiding instructions on this matter. How do we attribute value to a person? What is it that makes a person precious and valuable? So he says the first thing is, when you're looking at the roots of someone, the essence of someone, the core of what that person is, then rather than looking at things like ethnicity, the color of their skin, the language that they speak, what part of the world they're from, what part of the world they've lived in, instead of looking at that, judge them by merit of their intelligence. Look at the intellectual faculties of that person. Look at their capabilities and what they're able to achieve with their minds. Aslu rajuli aqluhu. The core essence of a person is their thought process and their intellectual faculties. If we start looking at people in light of their intellectual potential, their minds, and how they can contribute to their own lives and to our lives, we start looking at them a little bit differently. And we have now a different standard by which we are able to give value to someone. It's no longer their appearance or their dress or any of the things that we mentioned. Now it's what they are inside. Who this person is deep inside. Where is their mind? Where is their heart? So that's one thing. Aslu rajuli aqluhu. The second thing is rank and status. And often these things are also judged or evaluated based on family background or based on the profession that they have or based on their financial status. But he says, وَحَسَبُهُ دِينُهُ. What determines the rank and status of a person? It is the level of their deen. The more deen a person has, the higher their status is. And we should also see things in that way, because that is what matters in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at our faces and our appearances. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَى صُوَرِكُمْ وَلَا إِلَى أَجْسَامِكُمْ. He does not look at our physique. That's not where our value comes from. وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَى قُلُوبِكُمْ وَأَعْمَالِكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also looks at our hearts and our actions. So before attributing a rank or a status to someone, it's important to consider their deen. To what extent are they implementing this deen in their lives? So that's the second thing. The third thing is, how do you decide how noble a person is? Is it based on their last name or their family name? Or what is it based on? What is nobility based on? He says, وَمُرُوءَتُهُ خُلُقُهُ. A person's nobility is judged based on the extent of their good akhlaq, their good manners, their excellent conduct. The more excellent a person's conduct is, the more noble they are. So, this wisdom is about resetting some of the standards that we have in giving value to people. Umar radiallahu anhu is telling us where a person's true value really comes from. A, it's their mind and heart. B, it's the extent of their righteousness. And C, it's the extent of the excellence of their conduct. When we start looking at people through this lens, we start seeing a lot of value in people that perhaps we did not see before. And we might not, after this, give so much value to people that we are currently giving, we may be a little bit unfair in how we look at people and how we give them importance or choose not to give them importance.